Good morning to everyone. Welcome to our virtual class. I'm Svetlana Cotovan-Naval and we are going to have the lessons together. We are going today to learn new words and use them in the sentences, ask questions for an interview, read the interview and answer the questions, describe the picture using past progressive tense. For a better conversation, we need to study the new words and to see their definitions. Look here, please. We have ballet or ballet. It's a theatrical art form using dancing, music, and scenery to convey a story, theme, or atmosphere. College. It's an educational institution or establishment, in particular one providing higher education or specialized professional or vocational training. Law, the system of rules which a particular country or community recognizes as regulating the action of the members. Shooting, the action or practice of shooting with a gun. Clarinet, a woodwind instrument with a single reed mouthpiece, a cylindrical tube with a flaring end and holes stopped by keys. Soccer, a form of football played by two teams of 11 players with a round ball which may not be handled during play except by the goalkeepers. Volunteer, a person who works for an organization without being paid. Graduate, a person who has successfully completed a course of study or training, especially a person who has been awarded an undergraduate or first academic degree. Rush, move with urgent haste. Wrap, cover or enclosure in paper or soft material. Unwrap, remove the wrapping from a package. So, our next activity, I would like you to think of these words and write a sentence with 2-3 words or more from the word bank in it. I have done an example for you. I have played the clarinet, took the ballet classes before I graduated the college. I hope your examples are more great than mine. Now, look at the picture and say, what do you see here? What questions would you like to ask Chris and John? So, of course, we can see that there are two persons that seems to be very happy. And according to the flag having on the background, we can identify that they are coming from the USA. Let us see what are the possible questions that we can ask these two people. Where are you from? Why are you here? What do you remember about your childhood? How much time do you plan to stay? What activities have you practiced? How do you spend winter holidays? Next, I suggest you to listen attentively to the interview and see if Chris and John have answered your questions. Could you please introduce yourself? I was born in New York City. I have 2 brothers. They are both younger than I am. I was born in New York State in Rochester, near Syracuse. I also have 2 brothers, both younger than I am. Christopher lives in California and James lives in Kentucky. He works as a waiter in a restaurant there. Where did you study? I went to Boston University. I went to Boston University too. This is where Chris and I met. And what would you like to do when you go back to America? I want to continue my studies at a university. I would like to study law and work as a lawyer. What did you like to do when you were 12? Let me see. I played soccer and basketball. I was also very good at shooting. I played the clarinet and took ballet music and figure skating classes. How did you get along with your brothers? I played a lot with my brothers. Sometimes we had fights though. Which was your favorite holiday when you were at school? Christmas. We stayed at home from school for 2 weeks. We decorated the Christmas tree 2 weeks before the holidays. And the presents stayed wrapped under the tree for 2 weeks. On Christmas Day, we used to get up at 5 o'clock or 6 o'clock in the morning and rush into the living room to unwrap our presents. We also decorated the Christmas tree 2 weeks before Christmas, but the present came on Christmas nights. Now let's see if you have identified in the text the answers to your questions. Let's see. Where are you from? Of course, we have the answer in the text. Why are you here? So we have also identified the answer here. How much time do you plan to stay? If you remember the text, of course, we don't have here the information about this. The next one, what do you remember about your childhood? We have here the answer. How big are your families? Yes, we have the answer here. How do you spend winter holidays? We have described the Christmas. How do they spend Christmas? What activities have you practiced? And we have some of them mentioned again in this text. We'll answer these questions a little bit later, but now we need to complete the sentences with words from the word bank we've studied at the beginning of the lesson. Let me see how well do you remember the words. We have to complete the sentences. Chris and John are Peace Corps, of course, volunteers in Moldova. They both graduated from Boston University. John would like to study law. John played soccer and was good at shooting. Chris took ballet classes. Chris liked music and played the clarinet. Now let's see how attentive have you been by answering the question about Chris and John. So we have 4 questions to answer. Where did John and Chris met? John and Chris met at Boston University. What did Chris and John like to do in their childhood? Chris played the clarinet and took ballet, music, and figure skating classes, while John played soccer and basketball and was very good at shooting. The next one, what would they like to do when they go back to the USA? Chris wants to continue her studies at a university, and John would like to study law and work as a lawyer. The last question, what do they do in Moldova? Chris and John are Peace Corps volunteers in Moldova. So, I hope here you have also identified the answers to your questions we're thinking about at the beginning of the interview. Now, I would like you to look at the picture and write what the children were doing when their mothers entered the room. For doing that, we need first of all to remember what is the necessary tense needed to be used here. Especially if you are looking when their mother entered the room, of course, it is the past progressive tense. Let's remember how do we form it. Past progressive shows an action in progress, something that was happening, going on at some point in the past. How do we form it? It's the subject plus was where plus verb with ending ing. And I have here an example for you. I was doing my homework when my mother entered the room. Now, look back to the picture and write the sentences using past progressive tense. Let's try now to check. When their mother entered the room, we are not going to repeat because it is clear that this action is common for every child. Now let's see. Fred was writing a letter. Bob and Bill were talking. Dan was playing the ball. Ted was drawing a picture. Anne was singing. Pat was playing the piano. Pam was showing a picture. Nick was playing computer games. Mary was playing with the doll. Sam was talking on the phone. I think you answered right to all these pictures having here in our picture. Now, let's think about 3 things we have done today at the lesson. Discussed about people's interests, read the interview and answer the questions, and we have described the picture using past progressive tense. Thank you for your attention and see you next time at another virtual class.